Morphology, the internal structure of words. Materi yang akan dibahas adalah 1. Free and bound morphemes. 2. Lexical and functional morphemes. 3. Derivational and inflectional morphemes. And the last is morphological description. What is morphology? Morphology is the study of the internal structures of words and forms a core part of linguistic study today. The term morphology is Greek and is a makeup of morph meaning shape, form, and ology, which means the study of something. Morphology as a subdiscipline of linguistics was named for the first time in 1959 by the German linguist August Schleicher, who used the term for the study of the form of words. So, what are morphemes? A morpheme is a short segment of language that meets 3 basic criteria. First, it is a word or a part of a word that has meaning. Second, it cannot be divided into smaller, meaningful segments without changing its meaning or leaving a meaningless remainder. Third, it has relatively the same stable meaning in different verbal environments. A. Free and bound morphemes. There are 2 main types, free and bound. Free morphemes can occur alone and bound morphemes must occur with another morpheme. An example of a free morpheme is bed, and an example of a bound morpheme is lie. It is bound because although it has meaning, it cannot stand alone. It must be attached to another morpheme to produce a word. Free morpheme bad, bound morpheme lie, so the word becomes badly. B. Lexical and functional morphemes. When we talk about words, there are 2 groups, lexical or content and function or grammatical words. Lexical words are called open class words and include nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. New words can regularly be added to this group, and some examples are girl, man, house, tiger, sad, long, yellow, sincere, open, look, follow, break. And function words or closed class words are conjunctions, prepositions, articles, and pronouns, and new words cannot be added to this class. So examples are and, but, when, because, on, near, above, in, the, that, it, and them. C. Derivational and inflectional morphemes. A change in the function of a word, as for example when a noun comes to be used as a verb without any reductions, is generally known as a conversion. Other labels for this very common process are category change and functional shift. The conversion process is particularly productive in modern English, with new uses occurring frequently. There are 2 categories of affixes, derivational and inflectional. The main difference between the 2 is that derivational affixes are added to morphemes to form new words that may or may not be the same part of speech, and inflectional affixes are added to the end of an existing word for purely grammatical reasons. In English, there are only 8 total inflectional affixes. As for the third singular present, the example is she waits. Ed for the past tense, the example is he walked. Ink for the progressive, the example is she is watching. En for the past participle, the example is she has eaten. S for plural, the example is 3 tables. S for possessives, the example is Aulia's cat. Er for comparative, the example is you are taller. est for superlative. The example is you are the tallest. D. Morphological description. The difference between derivational and inflectional morphemes is worth emphasizing. An inflectional morpheme never changes the grammatical category of a word. For example, both old and older are adjectives. The er inflection here from Old English ra simply creates a different version of the adjective. However, a derivational morpheme can change the grammatical category of a word. The verb teach becomes the noun teacher if we add the derivational morpheme er from Old English er, so the suffix er in modern English can be an inflectional morpheme as part of an adjective and also a distinct derivational morpheme as part of a noun. Just because they look the same, er doesn't mean they do the same kind of work. Whenever there is a derivational suffix and an inflectional suffix attached to the same word, they always appear in the other order. First, the derivational er is attached to teach. Then the inflectional s is added to produce teachers. Armed with all these terms for different types of morphemes, we can now take most sentences of English apart and list all the elements. For example, in this sentence, the child's wildness shocked the teachers. We can identify 11 morphemes. The child's wildness shocked the teachers. The for the functional, child for lexical, as for the inflectional, wild for lexical, ness for derivational, shock for lexical, ed for inflectional, the for the functional, teach for the lexical, er for derivational, and s for the inflectional.